Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 4. This
Season
is okay,
12.
good. Yeah, Season 12, Week 4. Sorry.
Yeah.
Today, we're taking a look at My Beautiful Dark Willow Twisted Fantasy versus Lich. Better have my money. And they better.
Yep.
Dire team back.
Immediately saying a Necro ban from Willow Twisted Fantasy. I've actually figured out why they're banning Necro for Lich. Turns out it's one of the heroes that the Pause 3 plays. So.
Wow.
Radiant team back.
Alright, makes
Dire
sense.
team back.
By the way, we've had a rename. The artist formerly known as X3 is going to be known, probably from this point on in the tournament, as All Eyes on Me. It's the same guy, so
Oh.
it's not a stand-in.
Not even trying right now, and I'm lagging.
I'm also lagging, yeah.
10 seconds.
No
remaining.
tree either.
Five
I don't think we've
seconds
seen a tree in
remaining.
this tournament yet, so.
Radiant team pick.
Might not be
Lich,
true, I might have seen one.
Lich has definitely been watching the replays of Willow Twisted Fantasies. They immediately knock out that Mars and Monkey King, which means that no
Yeah.
matter what happens, they're going to be forced to run somebody else on Ramonolo at least.
That's true.
10 seconds remaining.
I actually kind of think in this situation it's better to leave the Mars in the
5
pool.
seconds
You
remaining.
know they're going to be running them if they can, right? And you can.
Yeah.
So I think
Just
it's a
play
lot
around
easier
them.
to, yeah.
Silencer.
Instead, you're going to have to play around Silencer. Have fun doing that.
Yeah, it's possible.
It is possible. It's just not ideal.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Got Viper
Alright.
coming up real quick for Lich. Likely going to be Kid Dynamite, but you can't knock that out. There's a
Could be
3 as
three
well.
Viper. Yeah.
3
I think Lich
Viper.
generally likes picking their mid first, typically. They
Right.
kind of hold it.
5 seconds remaining.
They like to pick in their 3 first. In the last
Radiant team
3
Yeah.
weeks, they've been picking 3s first, so you might be able to assume we're gonna. But now Viper and Warlock is actually a surprisingly potent combination.
Right.
Dude, can this guy stop tipping me?
No,
Is that Ortiz?
I believe that's
I think so.
Ortiz.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh, it is, yeah. For sure.
5 seconds remaining.
Kid Dynamite says no.
No. Iceman's gonna get spam tip now.
Yeah.
Radiant
15
team
tips for Iceman in the next game. Got a Spirit Breaker up. Spirit Breaker is kind of almost a flavor of the month pick right now, which isn't.
Yeah, which is odd considering he was unpicked in TI, but it's life. Got
Perhaps
buffed,
that,
though.
yeah, that post-TI buff is what people are thinking about. I do think there is one big thing that people weren't
5
thinking about with
seconds
Spirit
remaining.
Breaker in the last season, which is people were still thinking about Spirit Breaker in, I think, the old Spirit Breaker Light, right? People were still thinking about him as, like, the charge guys over and beat him up when you get there type of hero. They're still thinking about building Spirit Breaker around the queue. Well, I think, personally, Spirit Breaker's strongest skill right now is his stupid bulldoze ability.
Wow.
That status resistance is ridiculous. It means any hero that's based around,
10 seconds
you know,
remaining.
any hero that's based around
Radiant
CC
team
can't deal with them when that's up. Any hero that's based around debuffs can't deal with Spirit Breaker basically at all.
Such as Viper, yeah.
Dire team
Such as
back.
Viper, yes. It's actually rather hard to deal with a Bulldoze Spirit Breaker. Really, the only thing you got that's really going to go well for that role, I think, is a ranged carry of some sort. And unfortunately, one of the better
10 seconds
options
remaining.
they have for that in Drow Ranger has been eliminated from the pool.
Yep.
5 seconds remaining.
So
Radiant team
they're going to
back.
find it, I think, a little tough, at least so far, to deal with SP. Well, Twisted Fantasy looks like they're really focusing on the bush here. getting rid of just a lot of pause ones. Though I
10
will say,
seconds remaining.
I don't know if their knowledge of the Bush's
5
pool.
seconds
It's
remaining.
either their knowledge might be a little off or my knowledge is off, because I don't think I've seen the Bush play either of those heroes so far in this tournament.
Dire
Maybe
team
Ursa.
ban.
I think there was like a PA round for them as well, but
I don't think we've had a Spectre in this tournament yet. Maybe I'm
no,
wrong.
we haven't. We've had a lot of Spectre bans, but not any Spectre picks, I don't think.
10 seconds.
A wacky
remaining.
new meta Spectre.
Getting rid of the Kunkka as well.
5 seconds remaining.
It's the only hero right now that disassembles Echo Saber.
Congratulations to Kunkka.
And Spectre, not Kunkka. But
Oh,
yeah.
congratulations to Spectre. Yeah, the fact that Echo Saber disassembles is such a trivial matter due to what it's built from that's like, kind of makes you wonder why you can do that.
Dire team pick.
for new meta Spectre, they saw it coming. Yeah, you disassemble it into eggs and then orc it and then jump on someone and kill them.
No Jug, by the way. Jug
Yep.
is not here. Neither is Ocelot, by the way. He's been
Yeah, that's
starting
true.
some of these recent casts quiet, so I just want to state for the record, it's just me and Randy this time. Tiny, coming in! Almost
Bring it up, Tiny.
assuredly Dogtown Tiny. Fort Tiny.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. Showing some strength on the hero.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh yeah, shown a lot of strength. Dogtown in general has shown a lot of strength. I think,
5 seconds
Yeah, for sure.
remaining.
apologies to friend of the show, Kid Dynamite. I think Dogtown is really the standout player on Lich.
Legion
Get that LC
Commander.
coming up.
I don't think anyone picked so far on Lich necessarily likes that much, but I mean, it's kind of like I keep saying about all C lineups that
10
anybody is a
seconds
bad
remaining.
dual target. You get that a bit
Right.
because you duel someone and then the other two will just mess you up.
I think you can safely almost write Warlock out of the equation. I don't think it's really that necessary to duel him or to let him go, because his impact, all of his impacts are like long term. Like the Golem can beat you up, sure, but only if your duel's gonna last like an hour. That's gonna matter.
Well, you can drop it on your head,
That's true, but that's just like a second, you know.
Yeah.
And you're getting
but
life
1 second is a lot in a duel.
It's true, but it's not a second. It's like a second even in
That's
duel terms, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a long CC, and you're getting the counterattacks. The second
True.
it's over, so you're just gonna likely make a lot of that HP you lost back. Viper in particular actually is the unfortunate person in the pool right now for LC because, well, nothing sucks more than having to duel in a big pile of Nether Toxin. Ember
Ooh.
Spirit up. It's likely our
Alright.
Iceman. That's likely our 2 hero.
Yep.
They're kind of on
10
flex with Spirit
seconds
Breaker and
remaining.
LC. It's likely going to be 1 LC and 3 Spirit Breaker, but you can't say for certain.
5 seconds remaining.
Could be a support SB.
It could, yeah, it could be SB4 as well. I think maybe that's where a lot of the popularity of SB is coming from right now, is the flexibility with them.
Yeah, definitely a flex pick. It's like why Monkey King is super popular in TI, because you could literally pick him and he could do almost any role. He could do anything except 5.
Right. And so far as at this tournament, we've seen Spirit Breaker in 4 positions, and frankly, you can't write off the 5th. I mean, you probably can in this game, but there is even precedent for Spirit Breaker in Pause 2. There's precedent for Spirit Breaker mid.
Right.
I don't know if that would necessarily be the most popular role for him, but it's certainly something you could do, especially if you're thinking about a specific, like, counter in the matchup.
Yeah. Thinking about this one.
Radiant team back.
Alright.
Medusa. Bush going to be running Medusa. I don't know if we've seen... We haven't really seen a lot of Medusa so far this tournament.
Certainly gonna see her here. It's a
Right.
pretty clear-cut LC counter, I think.
Yep. LC
Ember
is
doesn't like it
forced.
either.
LC is absolutely forced to duel Medusa, or else she's gonna lose the duel, basically. If Medusa, and I mean lose the duel, if Medusa's able to ult when LC's in the duel and LC turns to stone in the middle of it, LC is going to not just not win, but probably lose that duel unless it happens super late.
Yep. And like I said, Ember doesn't like it. SB doesn't like it.
Yep, even Silencer doesn't like it so much if she gets the old axe, because she can just keep him as a statue for a lot of the fight and really screw up his global silence timing.
5 seconds remaining.
And AM's out, so
Yep.
Dire team back.
They're definitely assuming, on Lich at least, it's going to be for SB.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Radiant team pick.
Alright.
Knocking out the classic
Well,
plus one. Yeah, they don't have to worry about Ursa, because Willow Twisted Fantasy already knocked it out themselves. They do have to
They do
worry
have to
about
worry
Sniper.
about-
Not even trying right
That's some
now.
sniper.
I'm lagging.
Who's the one?
Ember Spirit, I would assume.
Presumably, yeah. But I think Ember Spirit is a
10
particularly
seconds remaining.
common hero for old Ice. You might be seeing one Sniper, you might be
5
seeing one
seconds
LC.
remaining.
Oh, they might be doing something really wacky and having SB be one and running one of these guys as support. We've seen it support LC and TI, for example.
That worked out great.
Yeah, it sure worked out well for him, you know? Maybe Willow Twisted Fantasy believes they have the solution for that support LC problem. I mean, it's
I
not
don't think there is
likely
a major support
particularly,
LC
but...
problem, to be honest.
Oh my god, Lich so random, okay?
You may
Huskar.
now select your heroes.
Okay.
That's a tournament first.
Yep.
That's gonna be our 2. Sniper's 1.
I think I like it. I think it's good against LC and SB.
Ramonolo running back the LC. The
Uh,
LC pick for Ramonolo in the last round didn't win them the game, but it certainly posed a very large problem for the enemy lineup. I think if we're talking about doing more variety for Ramonolo in particular on Willow Twisted Fantasy, leaning into that LC a little bit is not a bad idea.
Right. I think Huskar really messes up LC actually, because he can both ult and disarm into a duel.
Yeah, it's
And
really
doesn't really like ruin your duel very badly.
yeah, it's actually I think they've pretty much, unfortunately for Ramonolo, however, I think they have pretty much written the LC out of here.
Yeah,
The combination of Medusa and Huskar, that's 2 targets you have to
you
duel,
duel
or
one,
you...
the other will kill you, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just you have to duel one of them, or you'll lose the duel, or you won't win the duel. It's you have to duel one of them, or you'll lose the duel. And
Yeah.
not only does that a problem because you got 2 of those guys there, that also means that one of those guys is somebody you don't want to be really dueling anyway. You know, it's better to duel Huskar than let him ult you when you're dueling somebody else, don't get me wrong. But you still aren't really going to kill him in the span of a duel. You still really aren't going to do that much damage to him. And there's a good chance he could just beat your ass anyway, so...
Pretty much need frame perfect silencer play around it.
For battle.
Right.
Oh, okay, whatever, dude.
And reduces the natural manta virus, so even that
Yo, I am so good.
isn't necessarily 100%.
Right. Everybody use all your voice lines. Rip Undying. Rip Undying. Rip Undying.
Maybe I'll get a
Rip Undying.
Dota Plus just to get that line. It's really good. I like it a lot.
Absolutely perfect.
I wish the stupid graffiti would just stick around. Do they think
Yeah.
there's a ward on the rip sign? That would be funny.
I hope.
It's just Undying is watching you. Kind of messed up face because there's like a bit of a serration here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, good, it's a taunt against him.
And now we wait.
Wait.
Prepare for it.
Prepare for a lesson.
Wait and wait and wait, baby. Holy crap, Alexa Jax, how bad are these goddamn FPS issues? Okay.
Can't play Dota with bad FPS.
That's true. It turns out that the FPS issues was just Alexa Jax was like 0-12 in TF2 or something.
Oh my god.
Spirit Breaker in a bit of trouble here. He actually, I think he's dead, maybe?
Alright,
He's
big
real
toss.
low.
I don't think he's necessarily dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to need to take the Walk of Shame back home now, because he has no regen. That or purchase a salve. Yeah, he's just walking right back to spawn.
Starting out with these sick tosses, alright.
Yep. No surprise there. We've already seen Dogtown on this Tiny before, and the sort of effects you get from that.
Super quick mana for Medusa. That's really not surprising at all.
Mhm. So let's do the old-fashioned rundown. Oh my God, Silence! Speaking of rundown, rest in peace.
Yeah, gets vipered. It happens.
Yep, Silencer is good against Viper, but not so much at level 1, especially having to get Glaives level 1, and you do kind of have to get Glaives, unless you really want to screw yourself over a little bit, I think. Well, this is interesting, actually.
Yeah, Iceman's position 1 Ember.
Yeah. So, doing the rundown here, Iceman, position 1, traditionally position 2 for Willow Twisted Fantasy on the Ember Spirit. Luth, pause 2, traditionally 1. That's also your captain on Sniper. I think maybe they emergency pulled Sniper.
There's Archeezy in the river.
I think they maybe emergency pulled Sniper in the mid to try and deal with Huskar, and Iceman was just like, I'm not playing that, maybe. Or they just already picked his hero and he really didn't want to switch off, or maybe Luth just has experience issues with Ember Spirit, which is like fine, because you know you don't play you don't have every hero in the game on your record books. You know, I don't think I've ever played like a Naga Siren game, for example.
Yeah.
Anyway, so number 3 for Willow Twisted Fantasy, playing somebody besides Mars in an exciting twist, Ramonolo on the Legion Commander. Number 4, HS on that Spirit Breaker. It's had a bit of a rough time of it so far, but maybe not quite as rough as Alexa Jax on the Sniper, who had FPS issues, then was First Blood, and then got his courier killed. Man, it's a bad day to be him.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, playing for Lich better have my money. We've got DeBush pause 1 on that Medusa. Got Kid Dynamite on this pause 2 here at mid. It's actually up for last hits, but I'd predict that probably isn't going to be much longer, unfortunately, for him. He hates water runes. Pause 3, we have X3, who's actually still playing under that name here, but it probably is going to be different next week as Viper. Pause 4, you have Big Bad Dogtown on Tiny. And pause 5, we got Run Over Meat, newcomer to the series, as Warlock. X3 actually also newcomer to the series. Spearbreaker just trying to mess up the jungle in general here. Just making as much of a mess of it as possible, getting vision everywhere, messing with the camps. The bush is laughing.
And Medusa finds a funny.
Silencer is dead, and you're laughing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be very interesting to see. Because this is,
Oh boy.
oh man, right into the acid there. Ember Spirit just losing all the HP imaginable.
Oh, the creeps are blocking him.
He's going to be fine, I think. Viper hit back at the exact worst possible time, actually has no regen, and his one is only now coming in, basically. Silencer's still only level 1? He's gonna die, buddy! Oh,
Yeah,
no,
he got
he's
tossed back again.
gonna Fairy Fire, still actually die. Iceman ran in to try and break this up, but no, he's dying for it too.
Alright, Viper.
This
That's leaning in Viper for you.
Yep.
I just woke up, not even trying right now, and I'm
No more cheesy.
Yep. He's very low. But not really in any danger. Nobody's even got the ability to rotate right now. Had to call in some regen for himself. The this Tiny and Viper combination actually is a lot more brutal than it really looks on paper. Just being able to get thrown in, tossed right into the nether toxin.
Yep,
That's,
nice other toxin.
It's nasty, man. It's real nasty. And Silencer actually went with this Q level 2 here. I don't actually, to be honest with you, I'm not actually big on that one.
Oh
LC
boy.
runs over the meat.
Just to, you know, get a little chase there, but nothing too crazy.
It's a very interesting, actually, week for both of these teams in this matchup, right? You got, like the live game we did, we kind of got two stories going on here, because on one hand you've got Willow Twisted Fantasy, who started off really strong in this tournament, but it's almost gone downhill for them ever since, you know. Got Medusa going down here, just getting dove right out of the T1s. Everybody's kind of moving in to try and do something about this, but the TBs in are so slow because of the timing.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, they aren't able to do anything. The Radiant offlane are splitting up. The Willow Twisted Fantasy started off very strong this tournament, has yet to really find success since, unfortunately for them. Again, no E. You got Tiny Man. Hit E on him and he can only do half his combo. Come on.
True.
Anyway. So, the getting a big win here would be a very good step for Luth's team, getting back into the tournament here. X3 in a bit of trouble. They're
I think the
really
slow on
working
Q
at
is
him.
pretty powerful, to be honest.
What'd you say?
Especially in a lane like this where Viper just runs at you, the slow can actually prove quite useful.
The slow on Q. Yeah, I understand that. The problem is that the issue that they're having hasn't actually been Viper walking at them so much. It's been getting avalanche tossed into the pit, and that sucks. And there's not a lot Slow can do about that. You can harass them with it. It'll do some decent damage to them, but you really need to be in a lane like this to stop that combo from happening. Any lane where you're going to be looking at combos, yeah, level that E up, brother. Dogtown here at mid, looking for Luth. Luth is not home at the moment. So
Just gonna walk back into the jungle here. Or maybe. He does see him now.
yeah,
Gonna run straight at him.
yep. Ah, jumps him when
That's
he's
kinda funny.
flying.
And yeah.
Spear Breaker rotating in to try and get something done, but he just has to pull the brakes there.
Alright.
Not really sure why Iceman just got tipped, but that's an int for Silencer.
And a kill for Ember.
And a tip for
Both of those
X3.
things are very fortuitous.
That's true, that's true. We've definitely seen what Iceman can do on the Ember Spirit to a degree in this tournament. I think in the last round he kind of lost his confidence to a big degree. Maybe this time he's going to be, you know, a bit more conscious of that. He's going to say, you know, I must have spirit. Ironically enough,
Yeah.
right? I think the biggest issue he had was underestimating himself. Tiny here at mid again. Really looking to kill the sniper. SB charges in, but man, SB really can't do anything here. Wrong guy to have for the rotation. Kid Dynamite does go down. We do have a kill on the Huskar, but not really to much avail. We do have the E now on the Silencer. Which is good. It's good.
Right.
It's late to do much or anything. Dogtown and kind of big
Pass
trouble
one.
here. Warlock rolling in.
I double tapped by accident, said.
That is messed up. Saves him at least, you know. That's good.
Double tap to self cast. Gotta turn that off.
That or just don't double tap. You know.
Oh, yeah, sure. He's trying to spam it.
Yeah, that's true.
Trying to spam it with quick cast and just like slightly missed him, I assume.
Yeah, you kind of have to have one or the other. Like, you either have to have quick cast on or double tap on.
Oh boy.
Oh, Spirit Breaker, man. Wait, give up?
It's his AFK.
Alright.
I think he's looking at another lane there, you know, looking where to charge.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's gonna happen to you, Spirit Breaker. Sometimes you're just gonna be looking at a different spot on the map. I was
Just get
presumably
tossed in.
watching X3 actually, because X3 is pretty low.
Yeah.
Notably, even though Lich up for kills right now, they're not up for money. Kind of going against their namesake. LC actually at the top of the charts for net worth. Goodbye, Viper.
Thus ends the lesson.
Kind of
And
the
Network
charts.
Lead is just swapping in between teams right now.
Medusa and LC kind of fighting now over the top of the charts because LC found a nice big stack to do. Goodbye, Electrojax. Man, this is such a meek. Excuse me, such a meat grinder here at mid, man.
Yeah,
Radiant
certainly
just
is. People just getting tossed into Kid Dynamite here.
Radiant keeps throwing guys in here to counter Kid Dynamite. I think the strategy actually, just leave him alone, make him go somewhere else, make him wander around for these kills. Huskar can't farm worth much. He is not a great farming hero.
Yep.
So, to that end, I'm getting E'd and Q'd. To that end, if you don't let him just farm kills off you, you really can't do a lot. Still can't believe Dogtown got a Jägermeister sponsorship.
Wow, amazing.
But yeah, so that's what I was trying to say before the, like, 10 consecutive minutes of fighting. Never mind, we're still fighting! What a slaughterhouse.
Certainly poking him. Oh boy.
Oh, he's dead?
He's dead.
Oh, big armlet toggle.
Oh, good toggle, alright.
Very big armlet toggle there. That definitely saved his life. I mean, no question about it. Well, good timing there. Surprisingly easy thing to mess up in a lineup like this. You know, if you timed that wrong by like a frame, you're just gonna get...
Yeah, it's
you know,
gonna look really dumb.
Yeah. And I've been there, brother, so yeah, good armlet toggle. Oh my god, we're still fighting, dude. I'm never gonna say what I saw in my mind here. Uh-oh. LC, looking for a duel, got that blink, goes for Viper here.
Chasing two rabbits.
Did not get him. They actually thought LC was gonna go on the Tiny there, I think. Missed a duel, got Viper at least. Which isn't too bad, he's doing okay for
Another
net
kill on
worth.
Ember. This is
Actually,
always good.
not that great for net worth, but I did give Ember some cashola there. Notably Huskar, even though Huskar really isn't doing that great for last hits, he's 20 down for Medusa, actually well more money than her here.
Yep.
In fact,
Getting those kills.
even though Medusa's first place for last hits, he's actually 4th place for net worth, which is always an interesting spot to be in.
That'll change. It's a Medusa.
Yeah.
Medusa
So-
can just exist and, you know, outform everybody.
I found where the LC is. Uh-oh.
Oh boy. Oh
Here
boy.
you go. Well,
Good god, that tiny is scary.
this is a bit of bait. A bit of bait, I think.
Yeah, wait. Those raindrops too.
Who, Tiny?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. Nice mustache.
nice. Who's she talking about? Tiny?
Yeah. See, Tiny's cheating when it comes to mustache. He just picks up a bit of stone off the ground or sticks it right on his
Yeah, that's true.
Sniper got himself a Midas. I noticed that's been kind of popular on Sniper recently. The old
Yep.
Snipe Midas. See, to a degree, I think. Because, you know, he farms pretty slow, especially if you're going into Shrapnel quite heavily. He farms pretty slow. Not the best skill to use against the lane until you've got like 2 traits for it, basically.
And he has to have a hope of outperforming Medusa.
Right.
Not
X3,
necessarily a big hope still, but
X3, I think, a little out of position here. Doesn't
Ooh.
really matter. He's still... No, he actually
gonna get
is
him.
not
Yep.
going to get away from it. I think there's a...
Whoa.
I think goodbye, Ember. Like, I would say ultimately it's probably worth it for the Viper. Ultimately probably worth it for X3. I do think he's not being quite conscious enough of Ember's spirit in this match, of his reach and his potency. You know, there's been a few situations like that where he's been just hanging out around here, like, you know, 50% health, just gets kind of run over. That time it worked really well out for them, but in other situations, it's not ideal. Hasn't been ideal most of the time so far. Kid Dynamite going
Slight does big damage.
Kid Dynamite going to do the classic tradition, knocking down that Radiant T1 at bot
Oh yeah.
as the first tower. Literally almost every single game. It's actually almost more notable when it doesn't happen. It's like when we don't see an Ogre pick. And hey, there wasn't this game. No
Yeah.
Ogre PB here.
That's true. That's true.
Got the crappy Viper illusions.
Yeah, it's those useless Viper illusions you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I mean, not on the show, but yeah, I was
That's
talking
true.
about Viper illusions and how they do nothing. Speaking of doing nothing, Spirit Breaker's not going to be doing much for long. He did get he did time that bulldoze really well, but unfortunately, it doesn't really matter so much when old
Gets tossed
Antonio's
over the
around.
cliff.
Yep. I don't believe Tiny was on the board when they picked Spirit Breaker, but unfortunately for him, as Tiny is one of the better ways to deal with SP. Because
Yep.
his stun does not care about bulldoze, basically. It doesn't really have a duration beyond what it's doing anyway. His toss is not countered by it in the slightest. Is he getting stats up? Okay, no, he's just low enough level. Eventually he's going to have that tree, which means you're not going to be able to beat him in the right-click fight. You know?
Yeah. And he's gonna have 2 blinks apparently.
Oh yeah, that's true. One for each
One for each
hand.
eye. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, one for each eye as well. One for each hand, I was going to say. Alright, blink number 1 is in.
Tiny's a masochist.
Jeez. You know, even if you're going to say, you know, blink for each eye, you know, I would go with the blink for each eye rather than the dagger for each eye, personally. I don't know.
Right.
Radiant's
Thank you,
Try to-
Medusa. I thought it was pretty funny.
Try to jump on the Huskar here to some degree. It'll really work out for him.
Have that insurance remnant just poke at him a bit.
Curse gets nobody, unfortunately.
Blink Tiny actually means that pretty much everybody has to be super careful about positioning, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like a
Just blink in
Magnus
and get you out of there, yeah.
as far as his pickoff potential goes in this sort of role. It's very similar to how Magnus was played during TI. Just get one person into a really bad position and kill them.
They do have a bit of an ability to punish that, though. You know, if Tiny blinks in and just gets immediately dueled in the back line while he's dead.
Yeah.
You know? So Tiny himself actually has to execute that with Kara as well, you know?
But
It's a bit of a surgical procedure here, and any sort of brief lapse means that you are dead. Just gonna eat this mid T1 here through the back door. The quote-unquote back door, anyway.
global.
The global
They're kinda-
Huskar.
Yeah, they certainly are.
They
You're gonna
get
find
him,
him.
too. Iceman getting the kill there.
Oh boy. Oh
Viper.
god, the slate.
Immediately turns around, gets the Spirit Breaker there. It doesn't really matter when Ember Spirit's doing about 1 trillion damage. LC's hungry for it. I think she's about to try and blink into a duel here. Nope, she's assuming Viper is gone. Not actually the case, just hanging on the trees.
Yeah.
And that might have been a slight mistake. Though that was a good immediate turnaround in Rod. If he hadn't Rod there, he was 100% dueled and dead.
Yeah.
Though LC would be dueling under the crab.
Oh, Lotus Orb?
Is she building Lotus Orb? Yes. No, that's
Oh.
Blaymail, I think, actually.
No, I mean before that. Perseverance.
Yeah, she is building Perseverance. Could be for a lot of things, because it's just a raw Perseverance at the moment.
Something on Courier, I think. That might answer our query.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
And stuff just wants to persevere.
Just getting that Perseverance.
It is
Warlock,
not-
not Warlock. Silencer will just get beat up here.
Yep. It's not that bad of an idea to pick up a casual Perseverance. as a pause 3 because, you know, as you've just seen yourself, there's a lot of interesting stuff it builds into. A lot of interesting stuff for LC in
Could
particular.
refresh your duel.
You could refresh your duel. You probably shouldn't, though.
That's double the damage every couple 100 seconds.
I will say it is likely it's going to end up being a Lotus Orb. Just wants to, you know, put it on herself before the duel.
Yeah.
The
Oh
Ember
boy, I
Spirit.
sent. Ooh.
Oh, duel on the Huskar, but man, he's just not going down
Oh
for
god.
anything. In fact,
Yeah.
that might have oh, getting the global out. Oh, the Fey Grenade!
The Fey Grenade gets a kill. That's the first time I've ever seen that evolution. Oh boy.
Everybody just trying as much as possible to play
he's
around
halberded.
the sniper and the Ember Spear in this fight. But not
Yeah.
much avail. You have a halberd at. Who has that halberd? Huskar had to get the halberd? It's a bit unfortunate, actually.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Ideally, even though it would be quite the investment, ideally that would have happened on the Viper rather than Huskar there, and Huskar could have gone for a more interesting option. Still, 2 isn't bad. 2 isn't ever bad, I don't think.
Oh boy. He's got an insurance running out. Yep.
But now he's
Oh,
got
boy.
the. Oh, that was great
Oh
timing
my
by the LC.
god, press the attack.
But if Tiny blinks the
Literal
right
last
way,
tick, I believe.
nope. Nope, Tiny's not gonna risk it.
Good
Wow.
god.
Perfect timing on press the attack. Perfect timing. Gonna get a
Okay.
duel out on the Viper here again. I can't really.
Not enough supplemental damage, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, Viper's the wrong guy to get anyway. To be blunt with you.
It's not like there's necessarily a right guy. Like, you either eat Warlock and that's about it. You just eat Warlock.
Yeah. You can duel Warlock down. You can duel Tiny down pretty well. His friends obviously have to not be home,
Yeah.
but with the Tiny blinking around and trying to go, you know, as much of a renegade as possible, it's not that outlandish of a possibility.
Right.
Huskar and Tiny just hunting the jungle down here. Old HS, he was getting pinged by his support there.
That's sad. An old Dogtown KD combo.
Yep. These are 2 guys who've been playing together for a very long time. You can easily tell the sort of chemistry they have with each other here. You know, if you actually go on the LD2L website and you look at the draft list, it just under Dogtown, it's just like, please don't draft me if you're not Kid Dynamite.
Yeah. And then in this game, you know, he just tosses people into his Huskar. Tosses them free dinner every fight.
Right. A lot
I
of
don't think
scribbling
it's-
going on in the jungle here.
I don't think that's terribly counterable right now with their current lineup.
We got something like a counter initiation going on by the Radiant here, but they're really not brave enough to finish this one out.
Yeah.
By the way, have you noticed something, or rather the lack of something, for the last like 5-10 minutes on Lich?
What is the lack of what?
Well, first we're gonna call this fight. Viper getting absolutely bullied here. We got the duel out.
Oh
Looks
god.
like it's going to actually be a victory this time. It's not in the funk, and he's global silence. Zeus is dead. Huskar just dead to follow. Dogtown getting messed up here, but finally that the very thing I was talking about.
Triple kill.
Very thing I was talking about has come out here. Medusa.
Oh god, it doesn't matter if Medusa eats you all though.
Medusa coming out big. Immediately eating Spirit Breaker for breakfast, taking 2. LC's a hard target to argue with right now, though.
She's out of mana.
She's out of life.
The golem.
Iceman killed by the golem. Sniper
Oh my
is
god,
the sole
one survivor. Jesus Christ, that was bloody.
Funnily enough, that was exactly what I was about to talk about. Medusa has not been around for a lot of these fights. Finally pops out there. I think, unfortunately, I think that's a sign. I think old Vipe needs some more crap in his back pocket. I don't know if BKB is exactly the play here. Sure, they're not going to be able to target you, but you want them to target you in a scenario like this. You want them to be dropping all their spells and crap on you as much as possible.
That's the purge off global, probably.
Probably is a purge off global, but in this case, I actually would prefer Lotus for that.
Wow.
In fact, Lotus in general here wouldn't be bad. You can get the double duels going on, which is always funny.
Yeah, that's true.
You've
a good one.
seen so far, you know, Sniper, every fight starts off with that Assassinate. That hurts him a lot more than it hurts you, and it's one of those abilities that's, you know, like it is one of the idiosyncrasies of Lotus Orb. It counters the spell not when it's cast, but when it connects. So you
As
can die
long
at
as
pretty-
Warlock gets his rocks off, he's happy. Oh
That's
god.
true.
The silence is broken.
The silence just got broken
TP's
into
a shrine.
there.
Gets shredded.
Spearbreaker just gonna bulldoze right out of here.
Yeah, that is Lotus Orb on LC.
Without Tiny, without Tiny, they really can't do a lot about the Spirit Breaker. He's just gonna be able to bulldoze through most of what else they got.
Actually foregoing the Blade Mill here.
Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, actually had that queued up earlier. Is no longer going for it. Just going straight for the AC now. I can kind of see why.
Are scanning.
There's two people that are going to be doing right-click damage to you in duels to a large degree, and that's the two wrongest people to be dueling. So.
Yep. And so you're gonna get the frankly busted egg shard on top of it. It's always nice.
He's been using that pressy attack a lot too, so you know Raymond already has the muscle memory for that.
Yep.
Dire's top
Run over
tower
meets
is
in
under
here with all the
attack.
sentries in the known universe.
Yep. Sure
Radiant's
is.
bottom tower is under attack.
Once you get this map lit up.
Equilib growing fairly badly for the Radiant here. Lich smoking in, looking at LC. I think she has
That's a
the
foreign
spider
reducer
sense.
though.
They're actually smoking in and counter. Funnily enough,
Yep.
LC actually TPing out to join the counter smoke.
Reducer.
She's going to the triangle. Two
Yep.
ships passing the night, as they say.
Sad. If you were only there about 30 seconds earlier.
Yep. They're gonna light up
Whoa.
the jungle though. We're gonna find Tiny here. Yule's Tiny!
That's her. Yeah, he has heals.
That was a very good Yule's dodge there. Radiant, oh, that was not the golem you wanted to see. Radiant actually has a lot of disengage there. They were not
But-
committing to that one in the slightest. It actually worked out for them there as they just immediately pull out.
Yeah, I think the golem was assuming they would commit.
Oh, we got Roche's stupid Christmas hat.
Oh,
In
good.
cyan for some reason.
Hey,
Particularly Christmassy color.
very,
like blue.
it's a very blue Christmas this year.
Ember Spirit making as much of a mess as possible
Oh
with this
my
Roche
God.
attempt, man. He just really does not want to see this succeed. Get the Spearbreaker just gets eliminated.
Oh boy.
LC following. SB buys back was not really to much avail, I don't think.
Ember's still a problem, I think.
He could easily come in and snatch it, especially if he like stuns at a fast time. But
Oh,
he tried there,
Oh,
but
boy.
he didn't get it. Immediate pop of the Aegis, actually.
yeah, he popped it instantly.
Medusa
Okay.
coming out here.
They nullified. Okay, maybe not if Ember dies, but they nullified the 6v5 immediately.
Tiny actually really far deep in here.
Yep.
But Luth, man, he is about to be in Pain City, just disarmed, getting slapped here.
Yeah,
All I
Sniper
can do
versus
is-
Huskar is not a fun fight for Sniper.
Are fortified.
Yep. Works well for Sniper and Lane, but not really at any point past that, unfortunately, for him.
Oh man.
It's one of the more
Never used that
interesting,
sword.
one of the more interesting sort of trade-offs out there in the game. There's some hero combinations like that where it's like, in lane, Sniper just walks all over Huskar. You can just keep right-clicking him from a safe distance, just kite, just make it as much of a pain as possible for Huskar to do anything. The second lane phase ends and you start getting into team fights, Huskar is going to become your skull bully and he's going to shove you into the locker every time you show your miserable little bearded gnome face. And it's all because you wear those glasses. Or goggles, as it were. So you can't even do anything about it. He's not even bullying you for a logical
Boy,
reason.
nice
Oh,
man.
man.
He's
Heals
Yules. Okay, global to
That is
buy
his
his Ember
heals.
up.
Okay. I thought we were about to have for a second you know, he doesn't have a Yule Scepter moment.
Yeah, he
but
does have
no,
a Yule Scepter.
he does in fact have one. Got the duel out here, but man, it's going to be tougher to win it.
Oh, didn't lose
Everything
it,
falls on
at
her.
least.
Yep, did not lose it, but boy was it it was so close. Huskar
a lot of
building,
damage.
building some more damage as soon as possible as well, which is not going to make things any easier for old LC. Actually, funnily enough, had he had power treads here, I think he would have just won the duel outright.
I think Huskar is maybe the worst dual target in the entire game. I think.
No,
'cause he just,
that
as he
would be a
gets
bad-
lower. Yeah, I guess that's true. He's one of the worst, certainly. Like, the lower HP he gets, he just beats you up. At least Abaddon's not at a horrible risk of winning a duel.
Abaddon can be at a pretty bad risk of winning a duel, actually, because his Curse of Arrogance does not turn off when he's in the duel with you. So you absolutely have to break him to even have the chance, and even then you still get a good shot of ding, so you know, you're not winning anyway.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That's true. But I believe Break disables him from, you know, auto-popping his ult. So, there's that.
I don't believe he's ever restricted from manually popping it, though.
Well, it will be he's in duel he is.
I think, I might be wrong on this, but I think, borrow time special rule set.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Potentially, I don't think he can pop it in duel, but
Something that
I guess-
we'll have to test at some point.
yeah.
Silencer just, man, the worst day in Silencer's life.
Yeah, that's what I said.
What's he at now? 3 and 9, ouch. 10 stolen end. Which is, I guess, better than 20 dual damage at this point, but you know. Poor
True.
LC, really.
Very
this,
unfortunate, yeah.
been playing LC well, it's just the pick itself hasn't really gone well for them, which is always a very unfortunate spot to be in.
Yep.
There's nothing worse, I think, no worse feeling than having a very competent player getting destroyed because the draft didn't work out.
Yeah.
At least they didn't random, I guess. So here's
Sure, they would
here's
have
the
ran
story.
like Io or something.
Back to the story I was trying to present at the very beginning of this game, right?
Dire's
Unless we're about to
top
fight
tower is
again.
under attack.
Jeez, this has been such a bloodbath, man. These guys have not stopped beating each other up since the word go. Like, global silence out here, but man,
What's
no
up?
follow-up at all. Viper just BKBs. Did Viper buy a Falcon Blade after the BKB? That's a pretty late Falcon Blade. Kind of a deuce
I
ult
mean,
here.
you might have had it before.
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
Oh, that poor sniper.
Luth just getting annihilated here. Again, I see why they picked out the Luth here. The problem is, they don't really have like a proper pause 3. I mean, they have LC, who is playing that pause 3 role, but like, LC doesn't have the ability to play Vanguard for you like that, you know? LC does not have the ability to bail you out of situations, does not have the ability to take the heat for you. Viper actually doesn't either, for the most part on this lineup. It's kind of a tale of two cities here.
I think LC has better than Viper because of her pressy attack,
Yeah.
especially with Shard.
But even with the pressy attack, it's still not the most ideal thing in the world. So to that end, and the biggest thing is, you know, I think Radiant needs it a lot more than Dire. So the Viper pick is certainly not going to have as negative of an impact, I think. Luth again, man,
Yeah.
just getting bullied out by Medusa here, but Medusa might find a little boy in herself. Unless Dogtown coming
Oh,
in, big
God.
avalanche just immediately ruins it, and they're getting him after all. Getting Spear Breaker too.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
This is quite brutal.
People tend to ban X3 and Kid Dynamite against Lich. I don't understand it. Ban Dogtown. Kid
Yeah.
Dynamite's good. He's been doing really good this game, but a lot of his success is that chemistry with Dogtown. And you know, if you're looking at somebody who's not tiny this game with them, that I think it really hurts the Huskar pick. Because man, being able to toss people with that has been really nasty.
Yeah, the entire point of the Huskar pick is to synergize with it.
Yep.
I don't think they would have picked it if they couldn't get tiny, to be honest.
You're probably right about that. They're just going to casually eat a T3 here.
Radiant's top tower
Yeah.
has fallen.
Well, this kind of gets to the story I was putting in earlier.
Radiant's top
So,
tower
it
has
starts
fallen.
out, right? You know, Willow Twisted Fantasy started out very high-ranked team in this league. They put on a fantastic performance the first couple of weeks, but success started to elude them more and more and more. This is a great opportunity to turn this around, but on the other hand, man, what a feather in its cap. What a feather in their cap it would be
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
for Lich better have my money
Radiant's
to
middle barracks
score a
has
win here. I
fallen.
think you could call it not the biggest upset in the world, but I would still call it an upset. And it looks like they're well on their way to that upset, man. I don't know if they, I don't know if the Radiant has a path at this point. I think that upset is sort of coming true here.
I mean, you can't beat Medusa late game. Just simple as that.
Right. Big feather in their cap here. They end up, oh, global silence.
One more little fight here.
Chasing
God.
really far into their base. Viper and
Poor
LC
Sniper.
just bashing each other to death there, and the last Rex goes down.
Absolutely
Luth
perfect.
calls the GG, and that's it, man.
Yeah. That's it.
This is no small potatoes of a team. This is no small potatoes of a team here. Being able to knock out Willow Twisted Fantasy like that, it's gonna do two things. One, that's got to be great. There's got to be, you know, high fives all around in Camp Lich, right? That's a big victory for them, and I think it's a very big first step on the road to a sort of recovery in the back half of the season. On the other hand, man, that's got to be a bit of a morale hit for Willow Twisted Fantasy, but maybe they, I hope anyway, they take that as a hunger moment for them, you know? Like, look how this match went for us. We need to turn it around. We need to start building ourselves back up. We got knocked out by Lich here. We can't let this keep happening to us. Be interesting to see in that round too. You know, interesting bits of analysis here. I mean, for one, oh my God, poor Silencer, poor Spearbreaker as well. I don't think we really gave Spearbreaker enough credit for how little he was able to accomplish this game, and I think this did, to a degree, sort of expose the weaknesses of a 4 Spearbreaker, in that when he's in a low position, he becomes a very momentum-based hero, like Slardar, for example. If you're doing well, if a 4 Spearbreaker is doing well, if he's able to farm kills, if he's able to get a lot of A's, right? If he's able to get that positive KDA that he really needs, ideally positive KD period, right? If he's able to get that, he can have a very, very, very high game impact, right? But if he's losing, and if your team isn't doing so hot, right? If you're on the back foot, Spearbreaker in that low position, in that 4 or 5, really can't do a whole lot for you. He is not the kind of guy who can help turn around a game, and you can see it really well here. He ended with no money. He ended with a neutral DA, no kills to speak of. And he ended up being really not able to do anything much, but just kind of charge in and buy somebody not more than a second or two before they went down.
I mean, to be fair, he was countered by every Lich core, so...
That's true. He was there, and that's another issue to a degree, but still, you know, even if you're like a 4 and you get countered by all the cores, usually you're able to have more of an impact than that at least. You're going to have some utility in. Spearbreaker does one thing, he beats people up. If you can't beat people up, then Spearbreaker can't act, you know what I mean?
Right.
Silencer really couldn't act either. Poor Silencer actually is in a very unfortunate position in that he tended to get picked a lot, and he tended to be in positions where he was just kind of nulled out before a fight started. When he was able to get the globals off, and we've seen, I believe we've seen this guy play Silencer before, and it's been the case there. When we've seen this guy able to get those globals off, they've been big globals, right? They were big globals, but the problem is, Tiny always seemed to be coming in, messing him up. He was a big factor in cutting down on what Viper and Warlock could do in these fights, but it just never really felt like it to enough of a degree. And notably, I don't think they really had, especially with LC not being able to find success in these duels, I don't think they really had enough damage to win the fights in the time the global silence was down, which was the most distressing thing.
Yeah.
And always the downfall of a silencer in an unfortunate situation. If you can't win that fight,
You
you
want the fight to be in your favor when the global ends, rather than just still a stalemate.
right. So to that end, very unfortunate. I do think in lane in particular there was some missteps. You also have this Nether Shawl here, which I understand why you would go for the Nether Shawl when you're thinking, you got the Huskar Fire, you got the everything Warlock and Viper does, so on. But man, that really opened him up to a world of pain from the Medusa and Huskar autos, unfortunately. The Ember Spirit, I think, played well. I think the decision to swap where Iceman and Luth were laning was a smart one. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's the bully becomes the bullied effect for a sniper. You can lane really well against Huskar, but you can't really follow on it, unfortunately. And that really came out here. I think Lich actually came in with a better draft. I think to that end, one of the big factors is I think there was a lot of faith in the Spirit Breaker pick on this one, but they just picked him too early, and I think in too low of a position. If they had Ramonolo on the Breaker, I think if they just moved him one position higher, I think it would have made a lot of difference actually. If he was able to tank up, if he was able to use that bulldoze to its maximum extent, because the problem is he was just charging in. By the time he's able to get bulldoze up, he's already lost four-fifths of his HP.
Right.
They moved that Spirit Breaker up a slot, had it on Ramonolo, I think they would have done a lot better for themselves, because let's just be frank here, that LC did not work out. It's an unfortunate proposition to pick LC as 3, because I really feel like you can't afford to pick LC anything lower than 4th, honestly.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's about all I can say about that. As far as Lich goes, nothing too crazy here. I think Warlock's impact came almost exclusively from Fatal Bonds. I don't think we ever really saw too great of a golem or anything like that.
Not they needed it.
Yeah, which will happen sometimes. That will happen with some of the games. I think practicing a little bit, because you can see that Warlock level kind of low here, right? And Run Over Meat is not the experienced veteran of this league, right? I think some war games with Warlock trying to really get a better grip on when to drop that golem would do a load of good for you, right? When and where, that's the two questions of the Warlock golem. Why is actually the most powerful question in Dota 2. It's not really when you're talking about the golem. You have one answer to why, but when and where is a bit different. You had very interesting use of the golem when it was out, actually, but the summon itself, not quite so much, unfortunately. So that's something to work on, even in Victory, something to work on. The Fatal Bonds were good. There were a lot of good Fatal Bonds at this game, so there was that. And like I said, the micro of the golem when it was out was very good, very good. Work on that timing though, and you can go from a, serviceable Warlock with some issues to a good Warlock. I think this could be a future Run Over Meat mainstay. The Medusa play, I think, went out well for them. I think the only issue with the Medusa is I think she came out a little too early in one of the fights. Kind of showed it before it was quite ready. There was a point when I was saying there's something notably missing from these Lich fights, and I was going to finish that with they're holding for themselves 4v5 right now, which is giving Medusa all the space in the world, and that was a good idea.
Yep.
I think rather than trying to salvage the fight where they finally got the turnaround on them, it probably would have been better to just keep hiding somewhere. Probably not in the main jungle, ideally, because you're not immediately where they're going to be looking. But just playing partisan war for a while rather than try to come in and salvage it did work to a degree. Did get some kills off of that, but died, and I think that was probably, you know, not exactly perfect. So that was so one thing I'll say about DeBush. Otherwise, a very good game for him. Huskar, nothing to say there. This was the perfect Huskar game. It was executed very well. You can really feel the sort of synergy with Dogtown in particular with this Huskar and Tiny combination, who just played absolutely
It's a
perfect
deadly
against it.
one.
I really can't comment negatively on either. I don't have anything to say except maybe I would have had Viper build the halberd and gone for more damage. There were a few times early game when the lack of damage because of the halberd was kind of keeping him down. But you know, you could have had that on Viper, pick that up rather than perhaps the pipe here. I don't get the pipe here, to be honest with you. You got pipe for. Let's count the magic damage. You got
Ember Spirit.
Ember Spirits, Cloud. You've got overwhelming odds, which shouldn't be hitting you anyway. The silencer attacks, which really aren't threatening due to the damage on Viper. You've got the shrapnel as well. So I would have knocked out the pipe for my diet. I mean, not to say that it went that bad for you anyway. You know, Viper ended up 11-6, but it was kind of extraneous. And I think this was actually a position potentially where you could have actually done the dream of all +3s and gotten for more damage. Like in particular, one thing that would have been fantastic here was would be an AC, right? If you're able to get an AC, not only does that up your damage, it ups Huskar's damage, it really ups Medusa's damage, and it really screws LC over when she's trying to duel you. I think I would have done that this game. It's always a with the auras on these guys, right? You're going to hear me talk a lot about the aura items on 3s throughout this tournament. You already have, for the record. It's always a question of do I need it, and how much do I need it, right? You always got to think about how much magic damage am I taking, how much physical damage am I taking, what kind of magical and phys damage am I taking? Is this something where I need the immunity, or is this something where I need the protection? You know, that sort of thing, right?
Right.
I think he kind of came up wrong on the account here. I think Fizz damage would have done better, but ultimately, I don't think the game was depending on him so much that it made for a big factor, and it's certainly not like it did nothing. I'm sure it did. Let's see. I mean, it was a huge damage reduction to the shield. So you can see, these guys were taking not insubstantial magic damage. I think a lot of Huskar's damage there was self-damage. It's not insubstantial magic damage, so...
Yeah, Ember Spirit.
To that end, it wasn't that bad. You know, Ember Spirit does do a fair amount. Still, would I buy pipe for Ember Spirit alone? I don't think so. That's my opinion, however. Glebe also could have done some good there. Ooh, imagine. Glebe is always nasty. It's a lot nastier than it sounds, basically. You know, the ability to just put... It basically just forces BKBs. It forces you to buy a BKB or die, and unfortunately, they are not able to fit the BKB on Sniper here, which I do think did have a negative impact. He just didn't have enough time. It's a very unfortunate situation for him, because it's like, even if he did have time, what was he going to do? It's Medusa, right? So
Didn't have the space and time, yeah.
he needed time, and he needed the enemy pause one to be somebody else, unfortunately. I think he was trying to go for a quick farm and deployment. Like, he wanted to just get a modest amount of items and try to finish early. And that wasn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I think the Midas to try and do that was the wrong option. I think the idea probably would have been better off going for kill farming there. So yeah, that's my analysis. Gee, I wonder why I'm doing so much analysis on this game. That's kind of weird. Anyway,
Wow.
see you next game. Going to be starting any moment here.